Hey guys, your boy B here in Ballina at the moment, and it's a beautiful sunny day, not a cloud in the sky. And today I'm going to tell you about why I chose the van life. I was in a relationship for 7 years and come out of that, and freedom was always the goal from when I was about 17, 18. And then so when the opportunity come to be truly free, I thought, what better way than to travel around Australia and, you know, live that freedom lifestyle, not confined to four walls, although I kind of am. I've set myself up, I've worked my ass off, and now I have an opportunity to be able to go out and really chase my dreams and travel this country. I think that was really what stemmed it for me. I was in a van with two of my best mates. We were traveling from Brisbane to Sydney. We had like a little hippie high top camper, and we picked it up in Brisbane just before New Year's on 2019, and it was probably the best week of my life to date. Like, it was so fun. We cruised through the countryside into Nimbin, down to Byron Bay, some live music. From there we just kept town hopping down the coastline, Coffs Harbour, Newey, Port Douglas, different art galleries, different restaurants, all these different experiences that I'd never had before, and experienced them in a way that I've never experienced things before. Like, it was just the most incredible 7 days. Like, different when you're with your best mates and you're on a holiday sort of vibe, and you're really out there doing whatever you want, however you want to, with sort of no real ambitions of actually creating something while you're traveling. You're just sort of enjoying the moment. But I think that's what I really fell in love with. Prior to that, I think I was fresh out of school. I went to Europe with my old man, Dubai, stopped there and a changeover for 3 nights. And then from there we went to the UK. Flew into Glasgow, picked up a van, a bit bigger than this. We were in that for nearly just under 3 weeks, traveling around the UK. So we went down into the centre of the UK, like Hawick, and then across to Whitehaven, down to Cardiff in Wales to watch the Rugby League World Cup, all the way down to Southampton, right down the bottom, up into London, through Bradford, Leeds, up the east coast into Inverness, into Edinburgh, over across into Inverness, up into the Isle of Skye, and then back down the lock and into Glasgow. And I think from that trip, I was always like, yep, if I ever go on holiday again, I'm gonna do it that way. Like, I just fell in love with the freedom of being able to pull up where you wanted to or stop where you wanted to. Like, yeah, Kentucky's sound like amazing, and you get to meet so many cool people, but you're sort of confined to their timeline and where they're going to stop and where they want to go. And I just didn't do it for me. And I think when I started to look at Kentucky's and that sort of stuff and doing any sort of overseas travel, I just, for an extended period of time, I always wanted to do it that way. I wanted to make sure that on my own schedule, seeing the things I wanted to see, staying for as long as I wanted to stay. And the beauty of that 7-day trip in the van meant that I got to experience that. Sitting there, I was at Caves Beach, and I'm pretty sure it's just north of Newcastle. And I was sitting there with Kyle, and Jordan's across the road at the van, and he's just soaking up the atmosphere, and we're having a beer. And we'd launched Evocative like a month ago, and I was sitting there and I sort of thought, I looked at him and said, I'm fucking doing it. This is it, I'm doing it. 'Cause, you know, you would know, that feeling when you're on a holiday and you think, fuck, imagine doing this forever. Like, how good is this? Imagine waking up whenever you wanted to wake up, or just in a new spot every day, or in paradise. Like, it was just, yeah, it was such a cool experience. And I just remember looking at him and said, I'm doing it, man. I'm going to go full-time in Evocative. I'm going to buy a van. I'm going to do it up, and I'm going to travel around Australia. He looked at me and said, fucking go for it. That day I sat there as I finished my beer and put some dates in my calendar, which were like when I was going to tell my family, when I was going to tell work, when I was going to buy the van, when I was going to start the whole journey. And 6 months later, to the date that I put in that calendar, which I will touch on that in another video, my calendar method. It's super simple, but it's so effective. So once I have that ready, I'll put it in the show notes. But it was just, it made sense. And the journey from there was just getting ready. Like, I think I got home, and within like 2 days, where it was meant to be like 2 months later, I was meant to tell work. I was at work telling everyone I told the family, I started telling the whole world, and that's just sort of the social pressure I put on myself to make these things happen. And come June 1st, 5-6 months down the track, I picked up my van to the exact day that I had in my calendar, planning it out, brought like an app on my iPad called ArcSight. Such a good app. If you're thinking of doing a van or any sort of build project, use those guys. I'll put their link in the show notes as well. It was so simple. Started on Instagram looking at things, followed people that were doing what I wanted to do and got ideas from them and started to map out my plan. I remember having tape measures in my kitchen at home, like measuring the desk height, the bench height, the depth of it, the sink, how deep the sink was. Like, just started shopping around for like my appliances, power setup, stereo, all that sort of stuff. 7 months later, I was in the van. Yeah, it was crazy, man. Like, I sold my house, I sold my businesses, sold everything I own pretty much. All I have in my container is some of my old work tools and my bed. Like, there's nothing in there. Started fresh, set off on this adventure for the next 2 years. The reason I started van life was freedom. It'd been my goal for, since I was 19. Freedom of choice, freedom of lifestyle, freedom of finances. And I mean, don't get me wrong, in that 7 years I busted my fucking ass, and you have to, but now I can enjoy life, and because I'm focused on the happiness and the freedom's already there, like, I get to just enjoy the moments, and things are just happening around me, evolving and growing, and it's so brilliant. Like, it's so possible for everyone to do that. It might not be the van life. It might be, you might want to live in a boat, or you might even just want to buy your first house. It's just, you just got to commit to it. You just got to make that decision. Tell everyone. Everyone's going to tell you you're crazy. Everyone's going to doubt you, sadly, but as you believe in yourself and keep pushing, keep working, I can guarantee you will get it done. So freedom was why I started the van life, and 4 months in, I fucking love it. It's the best decision I've ever made, and I might look down the track in 5-10 years time and be like, fuck, I should have kept my house, I should have done this, should have done that, but because I'm on the pursuit of happiness, I can't. Like, I'm loving every second, so I'm soaking it up, and I think that's a real message that I want to get across, and I will continue to outlay those messages, is focus on your happiness, focus on what makes you happy, focus on the things that excite you, and get after it. Don't listen to people that say, oh, you're crazy, or you're stupid, or don't do that, like, you waste your money, because it's not their happiness. That's why they don't think it's worth doing. You know what I mean? And I really found that in my journey of doing what I want to do and doing what I love, is that it's not for everyone, and only person that has to be happy in that moment is you. You know what I mean? So it's tricky when you've got a family and a wife and kids, or husband and kids, or no kids and a husband and partner, or relationship, or animals, and it's hard to make that commitment by yourself. But I think it's the essence of all those relationships flourishing and being so beautiful, is having mental strength to prioritize your happiness first, which sounds selfish, but if you can't love yourself and you can't respect yourself or be in something for yourself, how can you expect to have someone else show you that or build you up? You know what I mean? Like, you just need to really focus and find yourself and do what makes you happy on a daily basis. And I honestly believe that finding myself, finding what I want to do, and I know while I'm doing that, I'm having the best time of my life, and I'm free. I'm living my why, and I'm living the van life. So stick with it. I'll show you the calendar method. I'll show you my van. I did actually document the whole build process, so I'm working on getting that edited, getting that sorted out, so I can show you how I built my van, the steps and that sort of things, which would be super helpful for all you guys that want to start the van life. But for now, I'm going to jump back in, I'm going to edit this video, and I'm going to bring you some fresh footage of around Australia. Phew.